Welcome everyone to today's emotional story, Sparkling Heart. After days of anticipation and quiet worry, CEO Tung finally took Ly Tu Anh to her prenatal checkup and received wonderful news. The baby is healthy and developing well. The moment they saw their child on the ultrasound screen, both of them were overwhelmed with happiness. In that instant, all the pressures of work and life faded away, leaving only two people about to become parents. From the nervous hand-holding to the loving gaze and the gentle whisper, "Mom and Dad love you so much," every detail came together to create a simple yet deeply touching story. This is not just a journey of love, but the beginning of a small family, built on trust, understanding, and unconditional love. Backhand index pointing right. If you enjoy heartfelt, romantic, and meaningful stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next episodes. Speech balloon. Leave a comment to share your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. After weeks of quiet anticipation mixed with unspoken worry, CEO Tung finally cleared his packed schedule to take Ly Tu Anh to the hospital for her prenatal checkup. That morning felt different from all the others, softer, calmer, as if the world itself understood the importance of the moment. Tung arrived early, standing by the car, his usual composed demeanor slightly shaken by a nervous energy he couldn't quite hide. When Tu Anh stepped out, he immediately moved toward her, carefully opening the door and offering his hand as if she were the most precious thing in his life. In truth, she was. Tu Anh gave him a gentle smile, her eyes warm and reassuring, though deep down she too felt a flutter of anxiety. Her hand instinctively rested on her small but growing belly, a quiet gesture that had become second nature ever since she discovered she was carrying their child. Every step she took now felt more meaningful, as if she was no longer walking just for herself but for a tiny life growing inside her. Tung noticed that gesture, and his gaze softened even more, filled with a mix of awe and tenderness. As they walked toward the hospital entrance, Tung reached for her hand and held it firmly, his thumb gently brushing against her skin. It was a silent promise of protection, of love, and of being there no matter what. Tu Anh felt that reassurance instantly, her nervousness easing just a little. Around them, the world continued its busy rhythm, people passing by, cars moving, distant voices echoing, but for the two of them, everything seemed to slow down. This moment belonged only to them. Inside the hospital, the atmosphere was calm but carried a quiet seriousness. The faint scent of antiseptic lingered in the air, and the soft footsteps of nurses echoed through the halls. Tung stayed close to Tu Anh, guiding her carefully as if afraid she might stumble, even though she walked perfectly fine. It wasn't about necessity, it was about care. Every glance he gave her, every small gesture, revealed just how deeply he cherished both her and the life she carried. Tu Anh leaned slightly closer to him as they approached the examination room, her heart beginning to beat a little faster. "I'm a bit nervous," she admitted softly, her voice barely above a whisper. Tung turned to her immediately, his expression gentle yet firm. "I'm here," he said simply, but those two words carried a weight of comfort that no long speech could match. She nodded, taking a deep breath as they paused for a moment outside the door. Tung squeezed her hand once more, offering silent encouragement before they stepped inside together. In that brief pause, filled with shared glances and quiet understanding, their bond felt stronger than ever. Whatever awaited them on the other side of that door, they would face it together, not just as a couple, but as future parents, ready to embrace the journey ahead. The moment they stepped into the ultrasound room, an almost sacred silence seemed to wrap around them. The lighting was soft, the air cool, and the gentle hum of medical equipment created a steady rhythm that somehow made Tu Anh's heartbeat feel even louder in her chest. She lay down carefully on the examination bed, her fingers instinctively reaching out until they found Tung's hand. He was right there beside her, just as he had promised, his presence steady and grounding. Tung stood close, his eyes fixed on her face at first, studying every flicker of emotion that crossed her expression. He could sense her nervousness, the slight tension in her grip, and it made his own heart tighten. He had faced countless high-stakes business decisions without hesitation, yet this moment, this simple, fragile moment, felt far more overwhelming. It mattered more than anything he had ever known. The doctor entered with a calm and reassuring smile, greeting them softly before beginning the procedure. As the cool gel was applied to Tu An's belly, she inhaled sharply, her free hand curling slightly against the edge of the bed. Tung immediately leaned closer, his thumb gently stroking the back of her hand in slow, comforting motions. "It's okay," he whispered, his voice low and steady, meant only for her. Then, the screen flickered to life. At first, it was just shapes and shadows, indistinct forms that Tu An struggled to understand. Her eyes searched the monitor anxiously, afraid she might miss something important. The doctor adjusted the device with practiced ease, and suddenly, a clearer image appeared. A tiny form, delicate and miraculous, came into view. "There," the doctor said gently, pointing at the screen. "Your baby." Tu An's breath caught in her throat. For a moment, she couldn't speak. Her eyes widened, filling with emotion as she stared at the small life growing inside her. It felt unreal, like a dream she was afraid to wake from. Beside her, Tung followed the doctor's gesture, his gaze shifting to the screen. The instant he saw it, something inside him changed. His grip on her hand tightened slightly, not from fear, but from an overwhelming surge of emotion. That tiny image, flickering softly on the monitor, was their child, their future. All the pressure, the responsibilities, the worries he carried as a CEO suddenly felt insignificant compared to this one truth: he was going to be a father. The doctor continued the examination, checking measurements and listening to the faint but steady heartbeat that soon filled the room. The rhythmic sound echoed softly, yet powerfully, like a quiet declaration of life. Tu An's eyes overflowed, a tear slipping down her temple as she smiled through the emotion. Tung noticed immediately, reaching up with his free hand to gently wipe it away, his touch careful and tender. After a few more moments, the doctor finally looked at them with a warm, reassuring expression. "Everything looks very good," she said. "The baby is healthy and developing normally." The words seemed to lift a weight neither of them had fully acknowledged until now. Tu An exhaled deeply, her entire body relaxing as relief washed over her. She turned her head slightly to look at Tung, her smile trembling but radiant. He met her gaze, his eyes softer than ever before, filled with a mixture of joy, gratitude, and love. In that quiet room, with the faint echo of their baby's heartbeat still lingering in the air, they didn't need to say much. Their hands remained intertwined, their eyes speaking what words could not. In that moment, they were no longer just two people in love, they were a family, bound together by something far greater than themselves. When they finally stepped out of the examination room, the world outside felt strangely brighter, as if everything had been quietly touched by the joy they carried within them. The hospital corridor, once filled with quiet tension and anticipation, now seemed softer, almost welcoming. Tu An walked slowly beside Tung, one hand still resting gently on her belly, her movements more relaxed than before. The weight of uncertainty had lifted, replaced by a warm, steady happiness that filled her entire being. Tung didn't let go of her hand as they walked. Instead, he guided her carefully, his attention entirely focused on her as if nothing else in the world mattered. When they reached a quieter corner near a large window, where sunlight streamed in and painted the floor in soft golden hues, he gently stopped. For a brief moment, neither of them spoke. They simply stood there, sharing the silence, letting the reality of everything sink in. Then, almost instinctively, Tung lowered his gaze to her belly. With a tenderness that came from the deepest place in his heart, he slowly released her hand and placed his palm gently against her stomach. His touch was careful, almost reverent, as if he were afraid that even the slightest pressure might disturb the tiny life inside. Tu Anh watched him, her eyes softening, her heart swelling with emotion at the sight of the man she loved showing such pure, unguarded affection. Tung took a quiet breath, his thumb lightly brushing against the fabric of her dress. His voice, when he finally spoke, was low and filled with warmth. "We love you so much," he said softly, his words meant for the baby but carrying deep meaning for Tu Anh as well. "Your mom and dad have been waiting for you." The simplicity of his words made them even more powerful. Tu Anh felt her chest tighten, a wave of emotion rising within her so suddenly that she had to blink back tears. She hadn't realized how much she needed to hear that, not just as a mother, but as a woman who had walked through uncertainty and hoped to reach this moment. She placed her hand over his, pressing it gently against her belly, as if to connect the three of them in one shared feeling. Slowly, she lifted her gaze to meet his. Their eyes locked, and in that single glance, everything was understood. There was love, deep and unwavering. There was gratitude, for each other, for the life growing inside her. And there was a quiet promise of a future they would build together, step by step, no matter what challenges lay ahead. A small smile formed on Tu Anh's lips, trembling slightly with emotion. Tung returned it instantly, his own smile softer than anyone in the business world had ever seen. It wasn't the confident, composed smile of a CEO, it was something far more genuine, far more human. And then, almost at the same time, they both let out a soft laugh. It wasn't loud or exaggerated, but it carried a lightness that came from pure happiness. In that moment, surrounded by strangers who passed by without knowing their story, Tung and Tu Anh felt completely alone, in the most beautiful way possible. It was as if the world had faded into the background, leaving only the two of them and the tiny miracle they had just seen. Standing there, bathed in sunlight and wrapped in love, they didn't need grand gestures or elaborate words. Everything they felt was already there, in their touch, in their smiles, in the quiet rhythm of their hearts beating together. A new chapter had begun. Not just as lovers, but as a family.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh Ly Tu Anh Review. Vậy là câu chuyện của chúng ta đã kết thúc tại đây. Nội dung câu chuyện hôm nay của chúng ta thì đã kể về việc CEO Tùng sau khi biết Ly Tu Anh mang thai thì anh đã rất là vui mừng và hạnh phúc. Anh đã lập tức trở về nông trại của Ly Tu Anh và đưa Ly Tu Anh đi khám thai, và kết quả là cô đã mang thai thực sự. Ly Tu Anh và CEO Tùng rất là vui mừng và hạnh phúc bởi vì hai người đã mong chờ giây phút này từ rất là lâu. Mọi tình tiết hấp dẫn về câu chuyện CEO Tùng và Ly Tu Anh sẽ được mình kể ở các video tiếp theo. Các bạn hãy đón xem nha. Cảm ơn các bạn rất nhiều. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.